No, it's okay. I don't want to be on anyway.
Well, you are.
We have a few quick announcements. As you guys know, our dues are due by the 20th of October. So if you have them today, please give them to Anna. And it would be really great to get them in as soon as possible, just because our deadline for nationals is November 1st. So 20th is the deadline. Anytime before then is great. If you don't have it today, you can print it in her box in the PRSSA little section of the journalism building upstairs.
And then also, if you guys could just let me know that you're here, and if you're not getting our emails, be sure to include your email as well.
All right, good deal. And now I'm excited to introduce our first guest speaker of the year, Shaun, the Assistant Athletics Director of Marketing here for CP Athletics. He's going to talk to us a little bit about what he does for sports marketing, PR, and it all intertwines with entertainment PR too. So listen up, and if you have questions, I'm sure he'd love to answer them. So, Shaun?
As Kelsey mentioned, I'm an Assistant Athletic Director with Cal Poly Athletics. What that means is I oversee three major areas in the athletic department, two of which are revenue streams, which help us fund our department. Three areas are marketing, corporate relations, and community outreach. The two revenue streams that I manage are marketing. Through the marketing stream is ticket sales, and that's season, single, group, individual, all four different areas of ticket sales. And then the other revenue stream is corporate sales. So that would be selling a sponsorship to a business, whether it's a national or local business. So all of those are kind of under my supervision as well. So I actually go out and do a lot of sales calls and visits, and there's a lot of contact with businesses too. So it's it's a multi-tiered thing for me, but it's pretty exciting. And my background in terms of how I got into it, I started out my education at the University of Rhode Island back east as a pharmacy major. That didn't last a long time. Lasted about 2 years. And at the time I was wrestling for the University of Rhode Island, but I was always involved in sports growing up and really enjoyed athletics. And then you look in that mirror one day and realize that I'm 5'6", 100 and nothing, and that's probably not where I'm going professionally. So how can I stay in athletics and still be involved? And the administrative side was the direction I decided to take. Again, I wasn't good at anything, so coaching wasn't an opportunity. So I started out volunteering with the Media Relations Office. Now, Media Relations is very similar, just public relations for the department. Sports information, as we call it now. They're the individuals who do all the stats at the games, they write the press releases, they set up interviews. So all of that stuff is kind of where I started. I did that for the University of Rhode Island for 2 years, the 2 years that I was there. Had some pretty fun things going on when I was there. We did a Midnight Madness at the time, and I'm dating myself here, but Jim Herrick was the coach. Probably waited a little bit too long after I graduated college to actually look, so I'd encourage you, if you're graduating this spring, start looking if you haven't started looking now. So I did an internship at LL Bean, and then I fell into an internship with the Portland Sea Dogs, who are the AA affiliate of the Boston Red Sox. That was a great internship. I did it the entire summer. It was unpaid. I was abused, I think, for 6 years with unpaid internships in college and after I graduated. And I'm not saying I'm making a ton of money now, so I don't know if I should say it paid off, but I'm doing what I like. Every day I wake up and it's a new day, it's a different day, and it's exciting to me. And I think that to me is where I want to go with my life. I want to make sure that every day I wake up I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing. Some people are driven by different motivating factors, but for me it was just happiness in terms of what I'm doing. I'm never going to make a ton of money in college athletics. It's just not going to happen. If you become an athletic director at a bigger institution, you'll make decent money, but nothing compared to what you'd make in terms of the private sector. So just, if anybody's considering college athletics, talk to me. I'll either walk you through it and let you know the things to be aware of, or to try a different path. Networking is kind of where I'm going with how I ended up here. Strange to move all the way from Maine to California, and I have zero ties to California. We'd been there, my wife and I had been there for about 6 years. Again, we had zero ties to Cal Poly or California as a whole. Her brother lived in San Diego, but that was the only tie we had. But as we continued to look around for other opportunities, the athletic director, prior to our current athletic director, was at the University of Maine. So I made a connection with him a long time ago, and when the opportunity came around here, he said, if you're looking for an opportunity, Cal Poly is open, I can throw your name in the hat, and then you'll take it from there. So that's kind of how it worked out for me. I applied for the position indirectly. He basically said, hey, this person would be great at the job, and I got a call for an interview. That's how a lot of it works for me, and I'm sure that's it's very similar in no matter what field you choose, but in athletics it's very much the networking versus throwing your resume in and having someone say, okay, yeah, Shaun stood out, I should definitely talk to him. The networking piece is the only reason I actually got an interview here. So I would encourage you to take every relationship you have with everyone, no matter how minuscule that relationship might be or how insignificant you think it is. Someday down the road, that relationship may pay off for you in terms of a job opportunity. So keep those things in mind as you're making contacts around. You asked in terms of internships and mentors that helped me along the way. I think I kind of alluded to it in pretty much every opportunity. It was the networking with those individuals that have made these folks my mentors. At the University of Maine, I was privileged to work with, well, let me start with Boston Red Sox. I was privileged to work with a couple really, really smart guys, guys that just have it together. Now, we started out as interns together, and now he's the vice president for marketing for the Red Sox, and the other one is the vice president for corporate sales for the Red Sox, Adam Grossman and Joe Janiczeski. Both those guys are just killing it there. I mean, it's not tough to sell the Red Sox right now, but they're doing a great job. So those guys I would call I would call my peers. Though I think the way they've elevated their careers, it's fair to say that when I talk to them, it's a mentorship relationship. I ask them for advice on things, how I can translate some of the things they're having success with, the things that we try to do, keeping in mind that our budget is a whole lot more limited than the budget they have to work with. Another individual who I lean on as a mentor, or two other individuals. The athletic director when I was at the University of Maine is now the commissioner of the America East. The America East is a conference back east. It's primarily a basketball conference, but it has schools like Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Northeastern, Boston University. So some of those schools back east that we compete with in all those sports, very similar to the Big West here. But he's the commissioner of that. He's an incredibly smart man. He was an assistant athletic director at the University of Miami, and then moved on to become the athletic director at Maine, and then moved on to become the commissioner at the America East. And again, I would draw on anything he would advise me on. He's just an incredibly gifted and talented individual when it comes to external relations. So he's an individual I call a mentor. And then Blake James, who is the athletic director at Maine, I would consider a mentor as well. But again, I think that kind of goes back to what I talked about in terms of networking and relationships. Those are what's going to help me down the road. If I ever decide to leave California, I'm probably not going to just look for job opportunities at Clemson or Florida or Texas. I'm probably going to turn to these individuals and say, hey, I'm looking to make a move. It's not going to be tomorrow, but if I'm looking to make a move, would you recommend anything? And to get it in their mind that I'm looking for another opportunity, I feel like those individuals would steer me in the right direction, and that networking is going to help me get in the door of somewhere else versus just throwing my resume willy-nilly every single place that I think could get a job opportunity arises. That's not really the way in college athletics I'm going to get that job opportunity that I want.
As a sports PR, what are the top qualities you say are the most important to have?
You mean for an organization or for an individual?
Yeah, for an organization. Well, no, for an individual.
For an individual coming into it to work?
Yeah.
What do I think are the top qualities?
Yeah.
Be hardworking, and I think that goes without saying. You can say that about any career. Dedicated to it. Be a constant student. Always be a student. Never stop learning. Never stop educating yourself. Everything's changed, specifically in public relations and the way the word is disseminated now. Things are evolving, so that people that rely on things they did 20 years ago are becoming extinct. So continue to educate yourself on new mediums and new ways to go about advertising on these mediums. Be a constant student. I think that's probably the best advice I can give, and work toward what you want to do.
Please do.